All right, for the remainder of this season and right on through spring, kids will suffer from earaches and tonsillitis. Here to give parents some background about these medical issues is Dr. Jeffrey Weingarten of the Ear, Nose, and Throat Consultants. Thank you so much, Doctor, for joining us. So tell us a little bit about why this time of year we tend to see more issues with ear infections and tonsillitis.
Well, good morning. Thank you for asking me. It's the weather. It's all based on the weather and the number of viruses going through our area at this time. When you get an ear infection, it's essentially an infection in the nose that causes swelling in the nose, nasal drainage, and it plugs up the eustachian tube. That eustachian tube we're all familiar with, it's the tube in the back of the nose that helps equalize the pressure when you go up and down in an airplane or an elevator.
So the purpose of that tube is to be sort of a conduit, and it has to remain open in order for it to function.
Exactly, and when you get nasal congestion or thick nasal mucus, it plugs it up, and when that tube gets plugged up, fluid gets collected in the middle ear space, and that's the fluid that gets infected. It's a wonderful culture material for germs to grow in.
So for people to sort of imagine this, basically what you're talking about, think of it like almost a clear plastic tube. There's water in it, and then so air can't move through, it can't function properly, and in that, I'm saying water even though we know it's a fluid, but just for the thought exercise, and in that water you begin to grow little nasty things.
Correct. Correct. And the middle ear is a trap space, and it's about 4 or 5 drops of fluid. There's not a lot of fluid, but it's a sensitive area. You have bones and nerves and muscles, and that's where your hearing mechanism is. And if you have fluid there, you can't hear.
Right, we've all been there, like coming out of a pool, you're like, what? Can't hear you. So what can we do if a child has had repeated ear issues and tonsillitis issues? Is there anything that can be done?
Well, first, if a child has ear pain, it's important to get a medical examination. And call your doctor, get in right away, because those ear infections can go bad really quickly. Once you get a good examination, if there's bacteria in the middle ear, you get an appropriate antibiotic. The antibiotic works, that's wonderful. The fluid usually clears in a month or 6 weeks. And if it doesn't work, additional antibiotics are necessary, and sometimes we have to put tubes in the ear.
So that is a tube, and it is super, super tiny. Can you hold that up again, just so people can see how small this is? It is done under
anesthesia. 10 or 15 minutes, very light anesthesia, even more gentle than you might get at a dentist office, totally painless, and then the ear infection cycles are broken, and the pain and the hearing loss associated with the ear infection is gone.
And is there another follow-up appointment needed to remove the tube?
The tubes fall out on their own almost always, and that's in 6 to 9 months, usually sometimes as long as 12 to 18 months, depending on the type of tube we choose. And we do the type of tube based on the history of the patient. So it's a very complicated decision-making process, but it's an easy fix for a very painful problem.
But there are some choices if your child continues to suffer from chronic ear infections due to that type of a plug there. So Ear, Nose, and Throat Consultants, you guys are all over, it looks like.
Yeah, we have offices in Southfield, Novi, St. Clair Shores, and Livonia.
All right, Dr. Weingarten, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for your interest.
And let's hope for a very mild cold season.